I'm Corey Proffitt-Boyd, and this is Say It Anyway.
Say it anyway with Corey Proffitt-Boyd. Say it anyway. Say it anyway with Corey Proffitt-Boyd. Say it anyway.
Welcome back to Say It Anyway. I'm glad you're here, and I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend it with me. And just know that you're always welcome here. Speaking of such, I want to talk about something today that I genuinely thought was normal for most of my life. And that topic is people just showing up at your house unannounced. We've all had it happen. No call, no warning, just a screen door slamming somewhere in the distance, like the opening scene of a low-budget horror movie. And if you grew up in a small town, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. And somehow, everybody acted like this was just completely acceptable behavior. It always started with the knock. There is no sound more emotionally complicated than an unexpected knock on your door, especially at night. I mean, you can be completely relaxed one second, watching TV, eating snacks, healing emotionally, then suddenly, and immediately your soul leaves your body. I mean, nobody calmly answers a surprise knock at the door. You know, you either freeze, duck, army crawl past windows, or suddenly become a hostage negotiator in your own living room. And why did everybody in the house always whisper? Nobody ever said anything important. Who is it? I don't know. Well, don't move. I ain't moving. Meanwhile, the person outside is beating on the storm door like they're collecting wartime debts. But here's the thing. It's a small town normal. Where I grew up, this wasn't considered rude. It was normal. My parents did it to people constantly. Other people did it to us constantly. I can remember as a child, we'd pull into someone's driveway and I would think, what if they don't want company? But nobody talked about it because, culturally, people viewed access to your home as access to you. Believe me, boundaries weren't really a thing. In fact, privacy sometimes would be interpreted as stuck up or unfriendly or, oh, they think they're too good or must be hiding something. And unfortunately, that mentally shaped a lot of us more than we realize. Because even if you didn't want visitors, you still had to perform hospitality. I mean, you could be sick, exhausted, broke, fighting, depressed, emotionally hanging by dental floss, and still somebody would pull right up in your driveway and expect coffee, conversation, and a full emotional tour of your life. And Southern people, especially, will invite you in while secretly praying you leave. Come on in. Meanwhile, internally, Lord, please don't let them sit down. They'll never leave. But if they did sit down comfortably, oh, it was over. If they sit down and lean back, oh, you've lost the entire evening. If they proceeded to cross one leg over the other one and take a deep sigh, you may as well cancel all your plans. That person lives there now. But really, as a kid, I noticed something strange about all of this. The adults often seemed stressed by each other, but also dependent on each other. People complained constantly about visitors, but if nobody came around for a while, they'd get lonely and say, well, why isn't anyone coming around? And I think that's part of why this happened so much. Back then, people were connected differently. They didn't have social media. They didn't text all day. They didn't curate their lives online. So people physically showed up. Sometimes at bad times, sometimes inappropriately, sometimes emotionally overwhelming. But underneath all of it, I think most people were just trying not to feel alone. And that part makes me sad now when I think about it. Now let's fast forward into modern times, and we've completely flipped the other direction. Today, if somebody FaceTimes me unexpectedly, I feel spiritually attacked. I mean, you really can't even call people on the phone anymore without sending a warning text first. We have to send something first, like, hey, do you have a second? Because modern adulthood has turned all of us into exhausted little islands. Everybody's overstimulated, everybody's tired, everybody's just trying to recover emotionally from life itself. And really, sometimes an unexpected knock feels less like company and more like an intrusion into the tiny amount of peace you finally found for the day. But there's also something a little heartbreaking about how disconnected we've become. Because now loneliness is quieter. Back then, people interrupted your peace. Now, people disappear inside themselves and inside their phones. Cell phones have turned into almost like our window to the outside world. And speaking of windows, can we talk for a minute about looking out the window and peeping through the blinds? Every family had at least one designated window peeper. They'd move one curtain about a half inch and suddenly become a full FBI field agent.
Oh, Lord. I figured that's who that was. That's Brenda and her husband. Ain't by theirself neither. They brought them kids.
And immediately the mood in the house shifted like incoming weather. And if your parents didn't want to answer the door, you had to participate in the lie too.
Don't say nothing. Turn that TV down. If they think we ain't home, they'll leave.
And meanwhile, every light in the house is on, your car is outside, and somebody accidentally coughs and sneezes at the same time. But really, I think what bothered me as a child wasn't really the knocking. It was the pressure. It was the expectation that people always had access to you, that you owed emotional availability at all times. So, growing up, a lot of us learned to ignore our own discomfort to avoid appearing rude. And I'm afraid that follows us into adulthood a lot more than we realize. It causes us to struggle with saying things like, no, or not today, I need space, I'm tired, I cannot emotionally do this right now. Because somewhere deep down, we still feel guilty for locking the door. But I also think there's something beautiful hidden inside those memories, too. People needed each other, whether it was emotionally messy, imperfect, sometimes intrusive, but they showed up. And maybe the real balance in life is learning how to love people without demanding unlimited access to them. There's no doubt that connection matters, but so do boundaries. And you know, if someone shows up at my house unexpectedly now, I'm still not answering that door. I've grown emotionally, but not that much. Or would that even be considered growth? I don't think there's any one-size-fits-all answer to that. But I think what really matters is knowing that people care for you and letting them know that you care for them too. This has been Say It Anyway with Corey Proffitt-Boyd. And if this episode made you laugh, made you uncomfortable, or reminded you of somebody beating on a storm door in the late 90s, then maybe we're all a little more connected than we think. Thanks so much for tuning in again. And until next time, say it anyway.
Say it anyway with Corey Proffitt-Boyd. Say it anyway. Say it anyway with Corey Proffitt-Boyd. Say it